Through the first few games of the year, we've seen Alexander Romanov a lot in the lineup, and he's gotten a lot of time with Jeff Petry on the top pair. We've mentioned so many times on this show about how the Canadiens have done everything they can to integrate him into their lineup, have him around the bubble playoffs, even when he couldn't play. Highly touted guy who was able to do all these things. And through these first few games, I have not seen it from Alexander Romanov, and I'm very curious what everyone else has to say with regards to Alexander Romanov, and if you see him remaining alongside Jeff Petry when Joel Edmondson comes back.
Well, I think we're seeing why the Canadiens coaching staff was reluctant to play Romanov in the playoffs last year. Having said that, I thought he played well when he was put in the Stanley Cup final as a third pairing defenseman. Now we're seeing him as a top pairing defenseman with Jeff Petry playing against the other team's top players. And, as Dominic Ducharme said the other day, the compete level is not a problem with Alexander Romanov. If it isn't anyway, it's that he's over aggressive at times and gets caught running around a little bit. And we've seen examples of that, getting himself caught out of position, trying to do too much. So they're missing Edmondson, and him and Petry together was such a good pair last year, and they're just trying to find somebody they can put in there beside Petry. And Romanov, this is going to be moving forward. This will be a great experience for him. I think he missed out on so much experience by not playing in the playoffs last year. The talent is there, and he's also got to be playing with a lot of pressure on him after having been a healthy scratch for so long, and probably playing afraid to make a mistake. And it's hard enough to play defense in the NHL at any time, never mind when you're playing afraid to make a mistake. But will he stay there? Who else are they going to put there? I mean, they're going to rotate guys in and out. They've tried Kulak. They've tried him. They're missing Weber. They're missing Edmondson. So it's a case of he might stay there just because they have nobody else. But Luke Richardson, I think, is probably, I can't think of a better defense coach to be working with a young defenseman like Romanov. And I'm sure, I've seen him at practice talking to him often. It's going to be a learning experience. There's going to be growing pains along the way with Romanov for sure.
And I think really you're asking a lot for him to step in as, the first pairing. I mean, if you look back at his training camp, everybody was a little concerned about his overall play with good reason. And, I've always sang his praises, as, everybody knows that he's got great potential moving forward as a real good defenseman. But right now his game is off, and, without blaming anybody other than his ability to read and react is not where it should be. He's running around a little bit, taking himself out of position, doesn't know whether to attack or to back up. But I think it's really critical as defensive pairings that they try and find ways to get along with their partner in the way that they read well together. And right now he's not doing a very good job. And Jeff Petry, I don't think, has been the Jeff Petry that we know so far. I think he's struggled in a lot of areas. And man, oh man, when you see guys back on the blue line that are struggling and making poor decisions, it really stands out versus, what the forwards do. But they have to try and, keep things simple, build a little bit of confidence in each other back there, and try to complement each other with their style. And hopefully they'll get that thing ironed out so they can be effective as pairings. And if not, they're going to have to change them up. But there's, like Stu said, there's not a lot of options out there as far as depth goes on the blue line. So they maybe put, a certain combination together, then switch it up another time. But I think they're really looking for some stability in their pairing so they can start to blend and be effective as, as a good, solid group back there.
A couple of years ago, Kulak and Petry played really well together for pretty good stretches. I have no idea really why it worked so well, but it seemed to. So you can always play Kulak there if you want to. But I think this speaks to a larger issue of player development and how you want to develop Romanov. It didn't work with Kotkaniemi, third overall pick, and that's a big miss. So you want to be very careful on how you handle this kid. Right now, through 4 games, Romanov is sort of the least of my worries for the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, I mean, he's not been very good, but who else has been good? You look at some of the young defensemen around the league and you see how quickly they have developed, including the Norris Trophy winner, in Fox in New York, and you look at Makar, and you look at this glut of young defensemen used in Vancouver, and you said, boy, this is the coterie, this is the cohort for Romanov. It doesn't seem to be that way. Remember Marc Bergevin a couple of years ago, boy, we'd play him right now if you could. He'd be in our top 4, and he was barely off the Aeroflot. So if you look at him, you want to bring him along the right way. Playing him with Petry might not be ideal right now. Few options. Yeah, maybe he loses the spot with Edmondson, but I'd keep him there and let him develop and make sure he's real comfortable doing what he's doing. We've seen this before. Victor Mete was never suited to play with Shea Weber. They pushed that. I think Romanov has a much bigger upside than Mete. I'd like to see him keep this job at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, Mike, you used the word comfortable there. I think that's a key word, because last year there was a huge comfort level with Petry and Edmondson, and with Weber and Sherratt. And the Canes defense looks very uncomfortable right now, whichever pairing is out there. And, Ben Sherratt, 4 games into the season, Sherratt has more penalties than the Canadiens have goals. And he got caught on that pinch against San Jose. I mean, it wasn't all his fault. The forwards came back, and Josh Anderson and Dvorak came back and covered up, and they sort of blew it after that. But there just doesn't seem to be a comfort level on the blue line with whatever pair they put out there, and that's a problem.
Not looking too good for the defense, at least for Alexander Romanov. I would hope for his sake he's at least able to still get some minutes and not necessarily just be thrown out there in the first pairing if when Joel Edmondson comes back, I should say. That's going to do it for this bonus episode. Be sure to check out our full episode on YouTube or at hockeyinsideout.com. Subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out newsletter. MontrealGazette.com/newsletters is where you can find it. And subscribe to the YouTube page because we like getting new subscribers. That'd be really cool.